You think the worst thing that can happen in your picture-perfect suburban neighborhood is a neighbor's dog barking too early or someone painting their front door the wrong shade of beige. Oh, my friend, you clearly haven't met Karen Whitaker of Willow Ridge Estates. Let me paint the picture for you. Our little slice of America was supposed to be the dream. Manicured lawns that looked like they were cut with scissors, kids riding bikes on wide streets without a care, and everyone waving at each other with that fake polite smile. HOA signs everywhere reminding you that we're all in this together. Yeah, right. I'm Mike Reynolds, 42 years old, run a small handyman business out of my garage. Wife Emily is a nurse at the local hospital, always the calm one in any storm. We have a 14-year-old daughter, Sophie, who just wants to get through high school without drama. We moved here 5 years ago thinking it would be safe, stable, the kind of place where you could actually relax. Boy, were we wrong. It started small, like these things always do. Karen was the HOA president, self-appointed queen of Willow Ridge. She was the type who wore those pastel cardigans and pearl necklaces even to mow the lawn, if she ever did any actual work. Always talking about preserving property values and maintaining standards. Translation, controlling every damn thing that happened within the gates. The first red flag was when I put up an American flag on my porch. Nothing flashy, just respectful. 2 days later, I get a certified letter from Karen herself saying it was a political statement violating the community guidelines on signage. Fine, $200. I laughed it off at first and paid it. Stupid move. That was blood in the water. Then came the fines for my unsightly tool trailer in the driveway. Never mind that I run my business from home and need it for work. Karen's inspections became weekly events. She'd cruise by in her spotless white SUV, clipboard in hand, looking for any blade of grass over 2 inches. Neighbors started whispering. "Don't cross Karen," they'd say. "She'll make your life hell." But the mail thing? That's where it got personal. It started with little things disappearing. Sophie's acceptance packet to the summer science program never arrived. My business invoices that clients swore they sent, lost in the mail, I'd hear. Emily's medical supply catalogs for her patients at home vanished. At first, we blamed the postal service. But then I noticed a pattern. Everyone who had ever questioned Karen at the monthly HOA meetings seemed to have mail issues. One evening at the community pool, I overheard Mrs. Ellison, sweet old lady who lives alone 2 doors down, complaining that her prescription refills were mysteriously delayed again. Karen happened to be there, sipping her iced tea with that plastic smile. Well, dear, perhaps if you kept your garden a little neater, the carriers wouldn't be confused about which house is which. The implication was clear. Mrs. Ellison had been late on her HOA dues once. Now she was being punished. I started keeping receipts. Literally. I documented every missing package, every fine, every snide comment. Emily thought I was paranoid. "Mike, just let it go. It's not worth the fight." But I couldn't. Something in my gut said this woman wasn't just picky, she was dangerous. Things escalated from there. Karen didn't just fine people. She made sure everyone knew about it. She'd post notices on the community board at the clubhouse. Reminder, the following homes are in violation of Section 4.2. Your name up there for all to see, like some suburban scarlet letter. Property values my ass. It was public shaming dressed up as community service. My daughter Sophie came home from school one day in tears. Some kids whose parents were tight with Karen had been spreading rumors that we were bringing down the neighborhood. "Dad," they said, "we're trashy because of the flag and your truck." That hit hard. Emily hugged her while I clenched my fists. I wanted to storm over to Karen's perfect McMansion and give her a piece of my mind. But Emily reminded me, document it. We fight smart, not loud. So I did. I started filming the inspections from my window. Noticed Karen's nephew suddenly got the contract for all the common area landscaping at triple the previous rate. When I brought it up politely at the next HOA meeting, asking for the bid process, Karen shut me down fast. "Mr. Reynolds, if you have concerns, you can submit them in writing. This meeting is for approved topics only." Her cronies on the board nodded like bobbleheads. The room was full of people staring at their shoes. No one wanted to be next. Then the mail tampering became blatant. I caught one of the mail carriers, Maria, looking stressed one morning. "Mr. Reynolds, I hate to say it, but Mrs. Whitaker has been asking questions." About routes and deliveries. Says it's for security. Security? In Willow Ridge? The only crime was Karen's ego. The breaking point came on that fateful Tuesday. Emily got a call from Mrs. Ellison. Her insulin shipment, the one she needs refrigerated and delivered on time for her diabetes, was supposed to arrive days ago. No sign of it. Mrs. Ellison's voice was shaking. I called the pharmacy. They said it was sent. Mike, I'm scared. My sugars. She was a widow, barely making ends meet after her husband passed. Karen had been on her case about her flower beds being overgrown for months. I checked the tracking. It showed delivered to the post office for pickup or something odd. We're going down there, I told Emily. She grabbed her phone, ready to record like always. This ends today. The Cedar Grove post office was that classic small-town building, brick facade, American flag snapping in the breeze, the kind of place where you knew the staff by name. But that afternoon, something felt off. We arrived just as the heavy steel security shutter was starting to come down for after-hours processing. Postmaster Henderson, a no-nonsense guy who'd been there 20 years, was inside with a couple other residents who'd come for the same reason. And there she was, Karen Whitaker, in her signature pastel pink suit, hair sprayed into submission, standing next to a dolly piled high with mail bins, packages, and yes, that telltale small white cooler with the medical stickers. She had that hands-on hips pose like she owned the place. This is HOA business, she was saying loudly. I'm ensuring all community correspondence meets our standards. Some of you have been receiving inappropriate materials. Henderson looked like he was 1 second from calling in the National Guard. Ma'am, this is federal property. You can't just take these. Karen laughed that fake little laugh. Federal? Please. Property values are everyone's concern. I'm protecting us all. The air got thick. I stepped forward, heart pounding but voice steady. Protecting us? By stealing Mrs. Ellison's medicine? That's not protection, Karen. That's theft. Her eyes narrowed at me. Mr. Reynolds. Always the troublemaker. This cooler is evidence of improper delivery practices. If it's important, people should plan better. Emily's voice cut in, calm but ice cold. That's insulin. For a diabetic resident you personally have been harassing. Hand it over now. The room shifted. Other neighbors started murmuring. Someone whispered, this has gone too far. Karen's face flushed. She gripped the dolly handle tighter. The power trip was in full swing, but cracks were showing. Karen's pastel smile cracked like cheap paint. You people have no idea what it takes to keep standards, she snapped, voice rising an octave higher than her usual syrupy tone. I am the president. I decide what stays and what goes. Henderson, bless his beige-wall soul, didn't blink. Ma'am, that's federal mail. Step away or I hit this button and postal inspectors roll in. He already had the phone in hand, calm as ever, but his knuckles were white. I blocked the door with my body, arms crossed, the same way I'd block a loose board on a job site. Karen, the only thing unsightly here is you holding a grandmother's life in a cooler like it's your personal trophy. Black humor bubbled up despite the tension. Nothing says community pillar like playing God with diabetes meds while preaching about lawn height. Emily kept the red recording light steady, zooming in on the cooler label. Refrigerate immediately, insulin. Mrs. Ellison's frail voice cut through from the back. Please. My husband used to handle this. I can't. The sugars. Tears welled. The crowd, 12 of us now trapped by that slamming shutter, shifted uncomfortably. A young clerk named Leo muttered, this ain't right. Karen waved a manicured hand like swatting flies. If it's that critical, maybe she should have followed proper channels instead of letting her yard look like a jungle. That did it. Emily stepped closer, phone out. You're endangering a life for your ego trip. Give it now. I leaned in, low and steady. Rules are rules, right, Karen? Funny how yours never seem to apply when it's your nephew's shady landscaping contract or the ballots that conveniently vanish. Her eyes darted, first real fear. She lunged for the dolly, slamming it into Leo and sending him crashing into the P.O. boxes. Mail spilled everywhere. Birthday cards, bills, Amazon boxes. Assault on a federal employee. The room exploded. Enough, Henderson barked, phone to ear. Inspectors are en route. Nobody moves. Sirens wailed in the distance. Karen backed up, feral now, clutching a bin like a life raft. This is HOA property. You can't touch it. I anchored the bin with one hand. Simple physics, no drama. Let go, Karen. Or the only property you'll own soon is a jail cell. She broke. Tried bolting. I held firm. Mail flew. Henderson's camera rolled. The inspectors burst in, navy jackets, serious as sharks. Ma'am, you're under arrest for mail interference and assault. Handcuffs clicked. Karen's face crumpled from queen to cornered rat. The arrogance evaporated into shock. This is a misunderstanding. But the cooler was already in Mrs. Ellison's hands, Emily helping her to a chair. Justice tasted sweet already, but we weren't done. As they led her out, one Inspector Davies started sorting her evidence bins. His partner, a sharp woman named Roar, pulled out a stack of papers. Forged signatures. Fake HOA requests. These aren't community mail, she muttered. These are. Planted. Karen's shoulders slumped as the shutter lifted. The crowd watched her go, jeers rising. But that was just the beginning. The twist hit like a sledgehammer 2 days later. Karen was out on bail, banned from any USPS property, but the inspectors kept digging. Emily and I handed over everything. Every sticker photo, every video from my garage cam, every threatening note she'd slipped under doors. Inspector Rohr took one look and whistled. This isn't petty HOA nonsense. This is coordinated. Turns out Karen's mail curation was cover for something bigger. Those forged documents weren't random. They were tied to a fake PO. Box rented by Arthur Pendleton, a ghost. Payments traced to untraceable money orders. The real bombshell? Developer Marcus Hale, the slick suit who'd been sniffing around Willow Ridge's protected meadow for years, trying to flip it into luxury condos. He'd been bankrolling Karen. Intercept the ballots, legal notices, opposition flyers, rig the vote to sell the green space. Millions on the line. While she preached property values, she was selling the neighborhood out from under us. The only loose thread was Gary Klein, our quiet HOA treasurer. Scared, skittish guy who'd kept his head down. Emily and I bought him coffee at the local diner, showed the evidence gently. Gary, the feds are already in. Help us end this. He broke. Hands shaking, he slid over the real ledger and a hidden audio recording. Karen outright soliciting a bribe from Hale in her living room. Voice crystal clear. Once the meadow vote passes, my consulting fee clears. He'd kept it as insurance. We pieced it together with the post office meltdown footage, financial trails, even timestamps proving Karen forged mail requests the same week Hale's team submitted the proposal. It wasn't about ugly packages anymore. It was a full-blown conspiracy. Karen's pillar act was just a shield for greed. Satire at its finest. The woman who fined me for a flag was the one waving a white one to a developer. Karen tried damage control from her McMansion, sending out clarification emails claiming it was all a misunderstanding for the greater good. Neighbors who'd once feared her started talking. The board cronies squirmed. But the feds moved fast. No trial needed. The case was airtight. Karen and Hale took plea deals. Sentencing loomed, but first came the real theater, the annual HOA meeting. We walked in calm. Karen stood at the podium in fresh pastel armor, ready to spin her exciting new opportunity for the meadow sale. I rose. Point of order. Emily hooked her laptop to the projector. Instead of condo renderings, the screen lit up with the ugly truth. Post office chaos, bribe audio playing loud, money trail glowing red, Karen's face from the arrest. The room went dead silent, then erupted. Cronies resigned on the spot, mumbling excuses. Karen's face drained white. This is slander. But the jeers drowned her. She stormed out to booze. Poetic. The queen dethroned in her own castle. The payoff was sweeter than any revenge plot I'd imagined. Karen and Hale's plea sealed it. Hale got fined heavily and barred from county development for 2 years. No more condo dreams on our meadow. Karen? She had to repay every dime of consulting fees, plus a special court order. Legally forbidden within 20 feet of any mailbox or kiosk for 5 years. A mailbox restraining order. Imagine the black humor. The woman who'd ruled our mail like a tyrant now couldn't touch a stamp without risking cuffs. But the cherry on top? Community service. 200 hours at the Cedar Grove post office, sweeping floors, cleaning windows, under Henderson's watchful eye. First shift, Emily and I just happened to drop by to mail a letter. There she was in an orange vest, on her knees scrubbing the same tile she'd once strutted across. No pastel suit. No clipboard. Just a dethroned Karen muttering under her breath while Henderson barked, "Missed a spot, ma'am." Standards, remember? I couldn't resist a quiet quip as we passed. Protecting property values from the ground up now, huh? Her glare could curdle milk, but she kept scrubbing. He washed over me like cool water after a long job. The HOA got rebuilt from scratch. New leadership, transparent finances posted online, forensic accountant hired to air out every dirty secret. The meadow stayed green, protected forever. People smiled again in the streets. We even painted a bright orange 20-foot line around the community mail kiosk, a visual reminder of Karen's ban. No more whispers. No more fear. Looking back, I learned something no rule book could teach. Power only exists because people let it. Karen's empire crumbled not from some hero swoop, but from ordinary folks, me with my receipts, Emily with her steady camera, Gary with his conscience, finally saying enough. The suburban dream's facade hides a lot of control freaks, but when regular people document, stand firm, and refuse to bow, the house of cards falls. Justice isn't loud. It's patient, evidence-based, and damn satisfying when it lands. Willow Ridge feels like home again. Sophie rides her bike without rumors. Mrs. Ellison's garden thrives, insulin always on time. And me? I still fly that flag high. If another HOA Karen ever tries pulling strings in your neighborhood, remember this. Keep the receipts, hit record, and wait for the right moment. The rules only work when someone cares enough to enforce them back. What would you do if it happened on your street? Drop your own HOA horror stories below. Let's keep each other honest. Because at the end of the day, nobody messes with the mail. Or the people who finally fight back.